My name is Caleb Jackson Miller. I am 17 years old, and on the night of November 14th, 2022, I was murdered in the parking lot behind the movie theater where I worked. 1 minute, I was texting my mom to let her know I was on my way home. The next minute, I was bleeding out on the asphalt while a stranger went through my pockets. I died right there between a blue sedan and a shopping cart return. But that isn't the end of the story. It's barely the start. Because what happened after my heart stopped didn't just change me, it gave me a message. A message about what is coming for all of us. Specifically, what is coming to America in the year 2026. And I promised him I would tell you. I want you to know who I was before this happened. I was just a junior in high school living in a medium-sized town in Georgia. My life was pretty simple. I lived with my mom and my little sister, Chloe. My dad left when I was 6, so it was just us three against the world. I took that seriously. I worked at the AMC theater on weekends to help pay for groceries and to save up for a car. I was a B student. I played point guard on the JV basketball team. I spent too much time on my phone. I worried about things like if the girl in my history class knew I existed, or if I could afford the new Jordans coming out. I believed in God, I guess. We went to church on Easter. I prayed when I had a big test or when my mom was stressed about bills. But I didn't know him. He was just an idea. Like gravity or the president, they're there, but you don't talk to them. That night was normal. It was a Tuesday. I clocked out at 9:30 p.m. It was cold, already dark. I zipped up my hoodie, put my headphones in, and walked out the back exit. I remember thinking about leftovers. My mom had made chili. I was hungry. That was my last conscious thought as a living human being. I hope there's chili left. I didn't hear him coming. I felt a yank on my backpack. I spun around, one earbud falling out. A guy was there, older, maybe 30. He looked shaky, sweating, even though it was 40 degrees out. He had a ski mask pulled up halfway, like a beanie. "Give it here," he said. His voice cracked. I froze. You always think you'll be a hero, right? You think you'll fight back. But I just froze. I held up my hands. "Okay, man, just take it." I reached into my pocket to grab my wallet. He flinched. He thought I was reaching for a weapon. Bang. It was so loud. My ears rang like a high-pitched bell. I didn't feel pain at first. It felt like someone had punched me in the chest with a sledgehammer. The force knocked me backward. I hit the ground hard. The guy panicked. He didn't even take the wallet. He just ran. I heard his footsteps slapping against the pavement, getting quieter and quieter. Then the pain hit. It was hot, like someone had poured boiling water inside my ribcage. I tried to breathe, but my lungs wouldn't fill up. It sounded like a wet rattle. I looked up at the sky. There were no stars, just the orange glow of the streetlights. I thought about my mom. She's gonna worry when I'm not home in 10 minutes. I thought about Chloe, who's gonna help her with math. The edges of my vision started to turn gray, then black. The pain began to fade, replaced by a cold numbness, starting in my toes and moving up. I tried to say, "Help," but no sound came out. And then the street lights went out, the parking lot disappeared, the cold disappeared. I was gone. The first thing I noticed was the silence. It wasn't just quiet. It was a heavy, thick silence. The kind of silence you feel in a library or an empty cathedral, but multiplied by 1,000,000. I opened my eyes, but I wasn't in the parking lot anymore. I was standing up. I looked down at my hands. They were glowing, faint, like moonlight on water. I touched my chest. No blood, no hole in my hoodie. Actually, I wasn't wearing my hoodie. I was wearing light. It looked like a robe, but it was made of the same stuff I was. I looked down. Below me, far below, I saw a scene. I saw a body lying on the asphalt. It was twisted in a weird way. A security guard was running toward it, talking into a radio. I saw the blue Nikes on the feet. That's my favorite pair, I thought. Then it hit me. That's me. I wasn't scared. That's the weirdest part. I should have been terrified. I was 17 and I was dead, but I felt relieved. It was like taking off a heavy backpack I had been carrying my whole life. The worry about money, gone. The fear of not being good enough, gone. I started to drift upward. It wasn't like flying like Superman. It was like being a bubble in a soda glass, just naturally rising to the top. The sky around me shifted. The parking lot faded into a mist. The mist was colors I can't name. Not just blue or purple. It was like I could hear the colors. The red sounded like a cello. The gold sounded like a choir. I was moving fast now, rushing toward something, and then I stopped. I was standing on something solid. It felt like glass, but warm. The air here was different. On Earth, air is just empty space. Here, the air was alive. It felt like water, but thin enough to breathe. Every time I inhaled, I felt stronger. Then, I saw him. I know people say they see a bright light, and he was bright, but he wasn't a blinding sun. He wasn't a blurry figure. He was a man. He was standing about 20 feet away from me. He was wearing a robe that looked like it was woven out of diamonds and sand. It had texture. It looked real. He turned to face me. He didn't look like the pictures in my grandma's Bible. He didn't have blue eyes and perfectly combed hair. His skin was the color of rich soil, like polished wood. His hair was thick and dark, pulled back. But it was his eyes. When I looked into his eyes, I didn't just see a color. I saw a history. Imagine you are standing on the edge of the Grand Canyon, and you feel how small you are. Now imagine the Grand Canyon loves you. That's what his eyes felt like. Ancient, powerful, but completely safe. He didn't smile like a human smiles. The whole atmosphere around him smiled. The light grew warmer. I walked toward him. My knees were shaking, but not from fear. It was from awe. It was the feeling you get when you see a huge thunderstorm rolling in pure power, but you know the storm is your best friend. He spoke. He didn't move his lips at first. The voice came from everywhere. It vibrated in my chest. It sounded like the ocean crashing against rocks, but soft. Caleb, he said. Just my name. But the way he said it, he put so much meaning into those two syllables. He said it like he had been waiting for me all day. He said it like he knew every stupid thing I'd ever done, every lie I told, every tear I cried, and he liked me anyway. I fell to my knees. I couldn't help it. Am I dead? I whispered. He stepped closer. He reached out a hand. I saw a scar on his wrist. It looked like a star. You have crossed over, my son, but your time is not finished. I looked up. I don't want to go back. It hurts there. It's hard there. He knelt down. He was right in front of me now. I could smell him. He smelled like rain on hot pavement, like cedar wood, and like fresh bread. I know, he said, and I could feel his sadness. He wasn't distant. He felt the pain of the world. I know it is hard. That is why you must go back. They need to know. Know what? I asked. He stood up and pointed behind me. Look, I turned around. The warm glass floor disappeared. Suddenly, I was looking at a giant screen. No, not a screen. It was like a window into the world. I saw a map of the United States, but it wasn't a normal map. It was alive with lights and shadows. Watch the year, Jesus said. I saw a calendar flipping rapidly. 2024, 2025. It stopped on 2026. The atmosphere of the vision changed. It got heavy. The year of the mirror, he called it. I saw 3 distinct things happen in America. He told me to remember them exactly. I saw American cities, New York, Atlanta, Los Angeles, but I didn't see fire or bombs. I saw people. Millions of people were walking around looking at their hands. They were holding devices, but the screens were gray. There was a sense of confusion. "What is this?" I asked. "The distraction will break," Jesus said. "For a season, the noise will stop. The systems you rely on, the money, the entertainment, the constant feed will flicker. It will not be the end of the world, Caleb, but it will be a pause, a great interruption." I saw people in their houses. They were scared because their distractions were gone. They had to look at their families. They had to look at themselves. "They are lonely," I said. "They are starving." He corrected. "They have fed on shadows, and now the shadows are gone." In 2026, America will face a spiritual hunger it has never known. The idols of comfort will crack. Then the scene shifted. I saw a massive table in the middle of the country. It was piled high with rotting food, money, politics, fame, anger. People were fighting over it, screaming, tearing each other apart. But then I saw something else. I saw small lights popping up everywhere, in living rooms, in basements, in coffee shops. I zoomed in. I saw groups of 10, 12, 20 people. They weren't fighting. They were sharing bread. They were praying. They weren't in big church buildings with fancy lights. They were just together. "The church is leaving the stage and going back to the table," Jesus said. He showed me that in 2026, the big, flashy versions of Christianity that are all about politics and power would start to crumble. They would look foolish to everyone. But the real faith, the quiet, humble faith of neighbors helping neighbors, would explode. "I am shaking the foundation," he told me. "Everything that can be shaken will be shaken, so that what cannot be shaken will remain." I saw people who used to hate each other sitting at these small tables. I saw a teenager helping an old man. I saw races mixing naturally, not because of a law, but because they needed each other. "Tell them," Jesus said, his voice stern but loving. "Tell them to build their community now. Do not wait for the screens to go dark. Know your neighbor. Open your home." 2026 is the year where the only safety will be in unity. The final thing I saw was the strangest. I saw a thick fog covering Washington, D.C. and the financial centers. Then a wind blew, a violent, sudden wind. The fog vanished, and underneath I saw ugliness. I saw corruption that had been hidden for decades suddenly revealed. It was like turning over a rock and seeing all the bugs scatter. It was shocking. I saw people on the news with their mouths open, leaders, celebrities, trusted figures exposed. I felt scared for my country. "It looks like chaos," I said. Jesus placed his hand on my shoulder. His touch calmed me instantly. "It is not chaos, Caleb. It is cleaning. A wound must be cleaned before it can heal. America will look like it is breaking, but it is being lanced. Do not fear the headlines. Do not fear the exposure. The truth must come out." He looked me in the eyes. 2026 is the turning point. It is the year of choice. People will either choose the anger of the rotting table or the peace of the small table. Tell them to choose now. The vision faded. We were back on the glass floor. The beautiful, living light surrounded us. I looked at him. "I can't go back there," I said. Tears filled my eyes. "It's too messy. It's too loud. I want to stay here with you. I feel clean here." Jesus smiled. It was the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. It was the smile of a proud father. "You are clean, Caleb, because I made you clean. And you carry that clean heart back with you." He stepped closer and placed his hand over my chest, right where the bullet had hit me. "Your mother is praying," he said softly. "She is begging me not to take you. I am answering her prayer, and I am answering the prayers of those who need to hear your story." "Will it hurt?" I asked. I was terrified of the pain returning. "Yes," he said honestly, "life hurts, but you will never be alone again. I will be in the pain with you." He leaned in and whispered one last thing in my ear, a secret just for me, to keep me going when days got dark. Then he pushed me, gently but firmly. I fell backward. The light rushed away. The singing colors faded. I fell down, down, down. My eyes flew open. The pain was instantaneous. It felt like a car was parked on my chest. I was being bounced around. There were sirens, wailing, loud, annoying, screaming sirens. He's back. We got a pulse. We got a pulse. A bright light shone in my eyes. Not the warm, living light of heaven, the harsh, stinging light of a flashlight. Stay with us, kid. Stay with us. I tried to talk, but there was a tube in my throat. I panicked. I thrashed. Hold him down. I saw the blurry face of a paramedic. He looked terrified. I realized I must have been dead for a while. Later, the doctors told me I had been clinically dead for 18 minutes. They said my heart had completely stopped. They had shocked me 4 times with the paddles and were about to call time of death when my heart just started on its own. I spent 2 weeks in the ICU. I had surgery to repair my lung and my rib, but the physical recovery wasn't the hard part. The hard part was remembering the peace of heaven and then looking at the news on the hospital TV. I watched the anger. I watched the division. I saw the very things Jesus had showed me starting to bubble up, but I wasn't afraid anymore. Still recovering. I still limp a little when it rains, but I'm not the same Caleb who walked out of that movie theater. I know what's coming. 2026 isn't the end of the world, but it is a test. Jesus showed me that our comforts are going to be shaken. The things we use to distract ourselves, the phones, the entertainment, the politics, are going to fail us. If you are watching this, you have a head start. Jesus wants you to prepare, not by buying canned food or building a bunker. He wants you to build a small table. Look at your life. Who are your neighbors? Who is your family? If the internet went dark tomorrow, who would you pray with? Who would you share a meal with? Find those people. Forgive the ones you're holding grudges against. Because when the shaking starts, love is the only currency that will matter. He told me, everything that can be shaken will be shaken, so that what cannot be shaken will remain. Make sure your faith is the thing that remains. My name is Caleb. I died, and I came back to tell you this. He is real. He is coming closer, and he loves you more than you can possibly imagine. Don't be afraid of 2026. Just be ready. My name is